now depended not on God, but on a human being, whether the lost son was to be irretrievably doomed. God closed his eyes and thought with all his might of his mother. He saw her face before him in the moment when she said to him, "Come to me, I will give birth to you, and you will never be alone again." His heart called upon her to be with him, although he could not see her, for he was shut inside a human being, and this human being was in prison. Then her image lit up in his heart. "You shall lose your humanity again," said the other, "and the one who gave birth to you shall see you die. I shall take you from her and humanity from you. Now they shall become more alone than they have ever been, for they shall experience that God dies from them. And thereafter they shall be alone with me. For to be alone is to be with me. Mine they will become, and you too will become more alone than you were." In God's closed eyes, the reflection of the other's own loneliness was hidden, the one that he himself must not come to know, and the only one that he himself did not mention here, only hidden from him by a thin layer of human skin and the will of God. Never has a greater distance existed in the universe than the one between the two in that moment. God's love for his mother and longing for his lost son brimmed over in him like the blood that was dripping into the dust, and he lay down in it by the feet of the other and prepared to endure unto death. The next day, when all was screaming for his death around him, he concentrated only on the one thing, keeping his gaze down, as he had dedicated his all to that. On the threshold of death, it happened that this made him completely human. Now he did not merely understand what it is to be human. His choice had made himself human, such as only endurance unto death can do. The death that he was now to go through for the first time. In that moment, there was no God anymore. He had undone himself in order not to undo his own creature. He had sacrificed himself. "Now you are alone," said the other, who was standing at the foot of the beam he was nailed to and saw him die. "You are alone, for I am with you." Now that he was no longer God, the tormented man dared to turn his face towards his mother, and he asked his best friend, who was standing by her, to take care of her, so that she should never again be alone in the world. He prayed for his mother, and one last moment they looked upon one another. As he was no longer God, she did not see in his gaze what the other would have seen. She only saw that he had sacrificed himself, and she kept it in her heart. Then he lost his vision, because death came quite close to him, and in that moment He was so completely human that he no longer even knew that he had been God. He then shouted out to the God that he had sacrificed and now forgotten, and simultaneously to his son, whom he had never before dared to ask this question directly. Why did you abandon me? And he died the blind death of a human being, and the one he had blinded himself for saw it happen and laughed. Epilogue. In the beginning were the waters that stream longer than tears, richer than joy. At the foot of the cross, the mother's soul brimmed over. When the man on the beams was dead, God existed only in his mother's heart. Here he lay for a while and hid himself, as he had lain in her belly, hid his face and his mind from the world. And the world outside was dark as one vast womb and one vast grave. From that heart he flew first as a white bird. From it he was reborn, saved from annihilation only because he had been loved as he himself had loved.